Hello, everyone. Now, you know, whew, I'm sorry y'all been waiting for a minute. Hello, everyone. Now, you know, I have been trying to, I'm sorry y'all been waiting for a minute. What the heck is going on here? Everyone. Now, you know. What the heck is going on here? Okay, here's the deal. I was just going to do a hangout and talk some shit. But I just got off the phone with somebody who was schooling me. And you know how I'm fascinated with cult leaders. They fascinate the shit out of me. Yes, they do. And I was just chatting with Miss Sandra, and she put me on about this Dr. York. Now, I'm late and I'm slow. I heard about him many months ago for the first time from Curious. And she was telling me about him and how he had a cult and they all lived in the woods in Georgia, and he was originally from Brooklyn, and this brother Polite follows him and all this stuff. And I thought it was interesting then. And I remember in a hangout we watched some chick talk about her experience in that cult. I think she was on Montel Williams' show. You know, all this stuff, right? Well, I was just chatting with Miss Sandra, and she just sent me some links that I'm going to read. And I hear that a lot of y'all like the way I read stuff. So you're going to get a kick out of this. But first, I want to find some information about him, you know, a reputable news source, because I like to use reputable news sources. And the best thing I could find was information. Well, it's not even the best, because I refuse to deal with information from WikiLeaks or Wikipedia, I should say, because anybody can just type in information there. However, I did find somebody's blog, and I'm going to start a screen share so you can see pictures of this batshit crazy man. I was reading some stuff and I was just absolutely appalled, amazed, impressed. Like I said, I'm fascinated by cult leaders. Like this Dr. York, from what I understand, he has like 150 children. He's had children with mothers and daughters. There was one family he was screwing the baby boy, his sister, and the mama, and had kids with the sister and the mama. I'm just always fascinated by the charisma, if you will, if that's what it is. What is it about them that can draw masses of people, where they can abuse masses of people, where they can feed masses of people a whole bunch of bullshit, and masses of people just eat that bullshit up and say yum and lick their lips afterwards? I'm always amazed by that. It just trips me out all the damn time. Now, and for those of you who have never heard of Dr. York, all of us together are going to delve and explore and find out about this man together for the first time. Because I know as much about him as you do, if you don't know him. I just know a little bit. So this is a blog called The New Centrist: History, Politics, Society, Cognition. I don't know who this blog writer is, but on July 29th in 2009, they created a blog cults, Dr. Malachi York and the New Wabians. Now, Dr. Malachi York, his real name is Dwight York. He's from Brooklyn, New York. But let him tell it, he's from the planet Risk, and he's an extraterrestrial being. Child, we'll get into that. Let me just read this blog. So this blog writer says, I was watching Brooklyn Community Access Television, BCAT, the other night and came across a program promoting the cult of Dr. Malachi York. By the way, today, Dr. Malachi York is serving 135 years in prison. Multiple child molestation charges and the RICO Act and a whole bunch of other shit. But anyway, getting back to the blog. Since I previously knew nothing about York, but he and his group are definitely batshit crazy. Wow, we used the same term. Isn't that a coincidence? He borrows heavily from ideas promoted in Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods, David Ickey's notion of reptilians, and the concept of a new world order controlled by the Illuminati or the Bilderberg Group. Sounds like they would all get along well with the Paulistas. Prior to his tenure as a cult leader, York was a musician and member of the Black Panther Party. In 1970, he embraced his own distorted version of Islam, organized a cult called Ansarul Allah Community. The group transformed its ideology and changed names numerous times from Ansar, Puri, Sufi to the Nubian Islamic Hebrews to New Wabians. Tensions developed between York and the larger Black Muslim sects, and he eventually took his group out of New York City and moved south. Sounds like Jim Jones. He did the same thing. York and his minions established a community on a 440-acre farm in Putnam County, Georgia, called Tama Ray. They now call themselves the Yamasee Native American Moors of the Creek Nation. Patterning their new community after a Hollywood caricature of ancient Egypt, the complex contained grand gates, pyramids, and obelisks. What the hell is an obelisk? I was able to dig up a few pictures. Let's look at the pictures. So they built pyramids. This is interesting. Oh, wow. They did all of that, huh? 440 acres. Here is a small sample of York's beliefs. Africans or Nubians are not originally brown in complexion, but green. The Earth's atmosphere has rusted their complexion because the magnesium in their melanin has been replaced by iron. York claimed to be an extraterrestrial master teacher from the planet Risk in the galaxy Iliwan and promised his followers in the year 2003 a spaceship would return from his home planet and collect 144,000 believers and take them back to his extraterrestrial homeland. York told his followers that in 1952, grotesque extraterrestrial Andromedians that resembled the Predator met with and frightened U.S. President Harry S. Truman. Other extraterrestrials have been trading with Earth since the Eisenhower administration and are responsible for giving us technologies ranging from the polio vaccine to the hula hoop. Each of us has 7 clones. everyone is originally conceived as twins, but usually only one of the twins survives to be born. Okay, so thus far, it sounds like this man has combined ideologies from Jehovah Witnesses, from Star Trek, and Heaven's Gate, and wrapped them all together and came up with his own religion, if you will. Continuing on with the blog. Okay, you might be thinking dude and his followers are nuts, but what's the big deal? As long as they don't hurt anyone, who cares what they believe? Well, as is often the case with cults, the leaders abuse the followers. In York's case, he is a convicted child abuser and molester. The first charge he was convicted of is raping a 13-year-old when he was 19. In 2002, he was charged with over 100 counts of child molestation and sentenced in 2004 to 135 years in prison. Tom Ray was raised by the authorities. Wow. York's scheduled release date is December 15th, 2119. I bet his followers have come up with some mystical significance for that date. Despite all evidence against their leader, they continue to profess his innocence. To all the nuts, zombies, and followers of Malachi York, I have no problem with you leaving comments here at my blog, but you must adhere to the conventions of written English. Also, if you do not have anything to add to the dialogue, consider posting somewhere else. For example, if you know that York is innocent of the charges he has been found guilty of, please provide some evidence. Well, so far, that's some introductory information I have found at this point in time. King Leo says Dr. York was set up. Okay, King Leo. I have come across, hold on, let me just stop this screen share for a second. Can I stop the screen share? I want to stop the screen share. Oh, stop. Okay, give me a second, because I had come across some information. A lot of information, actually. Just bear with me for a second. Oh, this man was batshit crazy. I'm just amazed. Okay. This is just so you can see, I'm going back to the screen share. And then we're going to watch a video, a hangout, actually. That's not it. Hold on. Where are you? Okay. We're going to watch a hangout that is about his victims. I don't know what happened. Oh, there it goes, I think. This is from a website called nuwapianism.com. Now, today, Dr. York is about 81 years old, and he's in federal prison. But let me read some of this. I understand the dangers involved in writing and presenting a website like this, for I know that I am going up against a beast that behaves irrationally when anyone speaks or writes about their leader in an unflattering manner. The research and information found on the subject of Malachi York, who the Nuwapians affectionately call the master teacher, who is a self-professed extraterrestrial called a Riskian, who brought a language from space called Nuwapic. This nigga brought a language from space. Do y'all understand what I just read? I'll go back. The research and information found on the subject of Malachi York, who the Nuwapians affectionately call the master teacher, who is a self-professed extraterrestrial called a Riskian, who brought a language from space called Nuwapic, who gave them a new Bible called the Holy Tablets, and the pseudoscience called Nuwabu or Nuwapu, known today as Wu Nuwapu. He had these people speaking a language that he created, that he said came from his planet, Risk. This site will address the questionable locations of birth, being in 3 different places, arriving on Earth by way of a spaceship called Nibiru, from a fictional planet he calls Risk, an 8th planet in the 19th galaxy he calls Ilion. The research is so extensive that it will shake the core and foundation of their belief and challenge the authenticity of the entire theology of Nuwapianism. So there are hundreds of black folks that believe this nigga is an extraterrestrial that came from the planet Risk and got his own damn language, which he taught them to speak, called Nuwapic. Can you believe this shit? These 360 questions, which are written with the same aggressiveness that Nuwapians questioned other belief organizations, will undoubtedly question the authenticity of the entire Nuwapian doctrine and organization, which has never been addressed to Nuwapians up to this day in time in this form by former Nuwapians. Let's make it clear right here. These series of questions should by all means be welcomed by the Nuwapian organization and their teachers, who will say, if you can prove it wrong, I'll follow you, or please find the fault. And don't believe me, check it out. I already know, as a former Nuwapian, know their mindset. I was like them. Also, this person who is writing this article is a former Nuwapian. He spoke Nuwapic. He believed that Dr. York was an alien from the planet Risk. I wonder what woke him up. In their frustrations, they'll say, I told you he's against Pops, or he's trying to destroy Nuwapu. But we did what York said to do. Don't believe me? Check it out. Now's the time to match Nuwapu against the facts and allow the general public to see if right knowledge is truly correct. Let's test Nuwapu and the Nuwapians to see if it's form a master teacher or a master deceiver. For many false teachers, preachers, prophets, and black messiahs have gone out into the world. This is not an attack on those who sincerely thought this new belief to be true, but it's an open challenge to all those who hold the position that York is a theological scholar, linguist, speaking 19 different languages, an extraterrestrial having 76 trillion years of knowledge. Well, Let's test you on your doctrine and beliefs. This nigga from Brooklyn was able to convince masses of people that he was an extraterrestrial from the planet Risk, and he had 76 trillion years of knowledge. I will conclude how a person like this can get people to buy into such utter bullshit. There's a few books entitled 360 Questions to Ask a Hebrew Israelite, Scroll 101, and 360 Questions to Ask an Orthodox Sunni Muslim, edition number 198, as well as an equivalent entitled The Book of the 5%ers. Oh, Jesus Christ, the 5%ers. What a bunch of fucking criminal idiots they are. Scroll number 195, Addressing the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the group which sprung from the Nation of Islam called the 5% Nation. So with the aggressiveness from those books, I'll use on the Nuwapians and their fans / sympathizers, because I'm only following what York taught in his Holy Tablets, chapter 10, tablet 10 and 1. So demand that anyone attempting to oppose upon you their beliefs, they ought to produce the facts. Nuwapians are not in the habit of reading their scriptures and scrolls with an open mind, which is why they are full of dogma. And when questioned on what they speak or teach, they make excuses as to why Mr. York offers no evidence that the reader can simply research. Mr. York would say, all right, don't believe me, check it out for yourself. Yet gives no direction nor cites where he obtained his information, which brought him to a conclusion, and that's not fair to the honest reader or believer who trusts him at his word that I came to give you what you think you want, so you would learn to think on the level of what I really have to give. That's very convoluted, isn't it? I came to give you what you think you want, so you would learn to think on a level of what I really have to give. Talking in circles and riddles. Nuwapians will continue to parrot along, waiting for the latest updates or a prison-related message from their leader York, forgetting or ignoring what he said. You need your leaders to do research and to back up everything they say with documents, not just words that sound good. Make them produce documents to prove it. Make them prove it with ancient documents, pictures, slabs, tablets, carvings, engravings, records, documents, and scriptures. After reading thoroughly through this website, at some point, you'll have to pause and ask yourself, who is the true Nuwapian assassin here? Now go forth, take these questions and use them like a medicine on those who may be sick with the debilitating disease of Nuwapianism. Take these questions, copy, paste, and post wherever you find a Nuwapian chat, site, or Facebook comment room. Take the questions to them at their question and answer classes and respectfully ask them to prove what they teach, because this is the same formula that Mr. York used when he wrote the first of the 360 questions series to ask an Orthodox Sunni Muslim under the name Reverend Dwight York. Now is the time to use this medicine on the Nuwapians to break his dogmatic, hypnotic spell of Nuwapianity. But remember, the facts hurt, yet they help. This is like medicine. When you take it, you don't like it, but once it's inside of you, there is relief because you know that the medicine will cure you. This is how right knowledge works. Because this is a 360 question website, primarily, it's only fitting to have the forward open in a similar manner of York's forward in his 360 book series. It's now April 2017. The Nuwapianism.com website was launched in March of 2013. After 2 years of Nuwapians ignoring the site, refusal to mention the site, and defiantly no direct responses to any, and it's taken Nuwapians and their sympathizers a total of 4 years to finally gather the courage to address Nuwapianism.com. Nuwapians have failed to answer or adequately address any of the questions from the site. Instead, what they have done and currently do is curse the questioner, create lies about the host of Nuwapianism.com, which is Chuck Morgan, name calling, accusations of being an agent, police, FBI, CIA, COINTELPRO, lay down red herring fallacies, deflections, diversions, changing the subject, commit straw man fallacies, misrepresenting a question, with the intent to establish a false argument away from the original question and claim the question defeated, and claim they have answered but not only actually addressed the original question presented, pound themselves on the chest and ask to do a live debate rather than present a substantive argument with visible sources, documents, or evidence to refute the premise of a question for all to see. The list and excuses go on and on. They don't want to fully address the site. Even if they did, they would cherry pick questions. Those they feel they can answer, meaning anyone can answer or reply to any question, even a 5-year-old who can talk. But it takes rigorous study to present a substantive set of responses with cited non-pseudo scholarship sources and direct evidence with the intent to prove a question or premise false. Instead, what their intentions are with the 360 rebuttal site is to deflect and distract from accurately addressing the questions, but give the appearance as if they are, and as a secondary tactic, keep Chuck Morgan from releasing additional questions and facts related to Malachi York, his teachings, legal case, and overall fallacies that make up the Nuwapian cult under any of the various sects. This Dwight York, Dr. York, was known by many names, and I'm going to go down the list of names that he was known by. The Angel Michael, as Sayyid al-Imam Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi, the Reformer, Rabbani Yeshua Bar el-Hadi, the Master Teacher, Malachi Zodak, Naya Malachi Zodak El, Chief Black Eagle, Maku, the Chief, Dr. Malachi Z. York L, Nada Aferti Atamre, Amanubi Roak Pata, Amanubi Rakapa, Pops, Reverend Dr. Malachi Zodak York L, Baba Murdoch, Amautu Malachi, the Supreme Grand Hierophant, Imperial Grand Potentate Noble, Reverend Dr. Malachi Z. York, 33 degrees /720. The fuck? Grand Al Mufti Divan Noble, Reverend Dr. Malachi Z. York L. Consul General Dr. Malachi Z. York. Amun Nebu Ray and Marduk Gal. Pa'a Nadir Amanub Rayak Ta Hanut Dijedi Atum Ray Amun Ray Pa'a Manzal Nazda Umum Nebaab Reye Ach Ta Dijebetawi Pa'a Nabababa Yawuno, and prisoner 17911-054. Come on, you gotta laugh at this shit. Why does he keep changing his names and his damn title? What the fuck? I'm gonna take a break and go to the chat. Good grief. Hello, Janine. King Leo says Dr. York was set up. Hey, BC. BC says that nigga is the truth. Dr. York is celestial. His spaceship has 100-inch spinners on it. BC says he's going to give you space balls. Jesus, this man was batshit crazy. Okay, I'm trying to find. Okay, let's see. I'm looking. Asta. This man didn't even have a GED, didn't graduate high school. Why is he called a doctor? And look at him, he batshit crazy. And why? Oh, this man was crazy. I'm looking. Bear with me. I'm actually looking for something I was reading earlier. Oh. Ask the Nuwapians, was Malachi York born in Ghana, West Africa? Fact or nonsense? He was not born in Ghana. He was born in Brooklyn. But let him tell it. I'm going to read what he wrote. He, Dr. York, wrote in the book, in his book about his birth. I'm just going to read this part here. What you're about to read is information designed to debunk and place in proper perspective the facts regarding Malachi York's birth, as well as his late mother's birth. It is our intention to clear up some of the lies mentioned in the book titled The Supreme Beings, the Melaninite Race, series number 27, as it's currently being used to deceive people from knowing the facts of Malachi York's birth. The publication is also designed to alter the reality that Malachi York was simply an American black man who was born in Boston. I'm sorry, he was born in Boston, not Brooklyn, in 1945, to an American black woman born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1924. We will share with you documentation, quotes, and images that many are aware of. This will be instrumental in presenting you with an accurate and valid premise, but you be the judge. Actual facts, the Supreme Beings, the Melaninite Race series number 27, verse 580. Now get a load of this bullshit. This is what Dr. York wrote. We saw your sufferings, and I, Pa Nabab Yuanun, the 19th elder, was sent to enter the body of this child. And it is I, Yuanun, who teach and warn you Nuwapians. We felt the sadness of his mother, the rejection, and made her womb open for us. So at 1 second past midnight on June 26, 1945 AD, 100 years after the birth of his great-grandfather of the Sudan, Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi, born June 26, 1845, and died March 10, 1885, who, by a Ghanaian female of the U tribe, the Akin clan migrated up to West Sudan. Her name was Mokbula, and she birthed a son in the year of 1885 AD named Abdul Rahman al-Mahdi, and he was the father of al-Hadi Abdul Rahman al-Mahdi, born 1922 to 1970 AD. All three born in Sudan of the mixed U tribe of Ghana by Mokbula and the Dungula tribe of Nubia by Muhammad Ahmad al-Mahdi. And this chosen male child was born at the exact time on Tuesday at that exact place, Takoradi, Ghana, West Africa, east of America, when the craft shined brightly above. You talk about a spaceship, y'all. All thought, how can a star shine so bright on a cloudy night? I, Ya'anuan, descended from it and entered her womb. He came from a spaceship. This is what this nigga's saying. He came from a spaceship and entered the womb of a woman. And she felt no pains in this childbearing. She uttered no sounds. She was called Fatima. Her name at birth was Mary Abba Okran of Westland Takoradi, the western region of Ghana, West Africa. She belonged to the Akan clan of Sakandi Takoradi, born in the year of 1929 AD on March the 10th. Do you understand that he is substituting himself as some sort of Christ? He came from a spaceship and entered the womb and was birthed. Don't you think it's a coincidence that his mother's name was Mary? When the child was born, I was inside his brain, waiting the exact time for him to speak my words unto all. He was much loved by his mother's family, yet rejected by his father's family. So with the help, are y'all taking in this big crock of shit? And to think there's masses of black people that believe this shit. Brother Polite is one of them. So with the help of her first husband, David Piper York, of who she had separated from in Boston, came back to Africa, and by whom she had two children before this one, a male, David Piper York Jr., Obaba, and a female, Dale Elaine York, Wakaya, whatever. She, being rejected for this, had to find a way to return to the West from the East, and her ex-husband and father of her first two children, David Piper York, a Native American of the Yamasee tribe who lived in Boston, extended a helping hand to her from America in Boston, Massachusetts. My mother is by DNA related to David Piper York. So my children who have David's DNA as well as my mother's DNA, if you read the old books and look at the Native American charts, you will see that I stated that David Piper York and Mary C. Williams were first cousins. Ew. Blood related and have the same family DNA. For those of my children who look up their DNA and find the York, Piper, and other names listed in books, you can also read this in the rebuttal to the slanderers, Let's Set the Record Straight, and the many times I've said it. David P. York and Mary C. Williams were related as first cousins, so they would have the same DNA if looked up. And because Mary is my DNA mother, they will find that David Piper York is in their DNA. I know this. I accept him as my father, as step, and family as blood related. How did I become related to Ben York, Native American? My DNA will reflect David's DNA because my mother, Mary, was his wife, and they were first cousins. Well, how many times you gonna repeat that, nigga? David Piper York, on behalf of his children, helped Mary Abba Okran, also called Mary C. York, to return from Ghana, West Africa, eastward to America by putting his own name on a bogus birth certificate that he was able to pay money to have forged, yet refused to give the male child a first name, so he was only named on his birth certificate male. This has been proven by the Registry of Vital Records and Statistics in Boston, Massachusetts, to be a fake birth certificate after research proved no such male child was actually born in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts between the years of 1941 AD and 1950 AD. No male child born named Dwight York. There is no birth record of Dwight York at the Registry of Vital Records and Statistics in Massachusetts, USA. We're going to skip in. It says, she noticed that at the birth, the child did not cry. This child did not speak one sound or word until he was in the West and up until he was 4 years and 4 months and 4 days old. On that day, he spoke his first words and sound. All around was amazed at what he had to say, grateful for all that Mr. David Piper York had done for her and her newborn. He and she resumed a marriage relationship, and in time she birthed by David Piper York 2 more children, a daughter and a son, Deborah, then Dennis. Here is the oldest David York son, next Dale York daughter, and the child Malachi Kobina York male, not the DNA son of David Piper York, yet the son of Al-Hadi Abdul Rahman Al-Mahdi and Mary Abba Okran. So written in red is this Chuck Morgan. And he says, after reading the above, let's summarize. Malachi York's mother, Mary C. Williams York, goes to Sudan, East Africa, gets pregnant by another man she barely knows, just under 3 months after having a second baby with David Piper York. She comes back to America, and David is nice enough to claim the baby as his own, pays for a fake birth certificate with the state seal on it. Plus, they're still married as first cousins. Then they decide to patch up their relationship after she has another man's baby, only to have 2 more children with her first cousin. This is beyond ridiculous and does not reason out, let alone having zero evidence to support. By the end of this article, you'll see how reality, evidence, and the facts trumps the dogmatic ideologue perspective of York and the Nuwaubian religious cult. When York first released his birth certificate, he said the word York was on there because that's how they sometimes issue birth certificates. Nothing was ever said about his stepfather forging it. In fact, York said that his real birth certificate was in the Hall of Records in Sudan. Proof of those earlier claims will be presented later in this article, and you'll be able to compare and see the lies vividly. How is it that Malachi York was born in Ghana when York himself said he was born in Sudan? How is it that David P. York is not his real father when York claimed in another book that Al-Hadi Al-Mahdi was his spiritual father? Why would a man forge a birth certificate to cover for his wife having a baby with someone else? How is Malachi York related to Ben York through first cousins having sex? How is it that Mary C. York Williams was born in Ghana when her mother, Mary May Miller, has never visited Ghana, West Africa? There's a vast amount of inconsistencies with this Nuwaubian York birth narratives, so much that you can write a book on it alone. We'll try and simplify it as easy as possible without becoming a case of overkill. Here we have Malachi York speaking about himself as a space alien, Ya'anuan, claiming to have been born 1 second after midnight. York's made-up alter ego, Ya'anuan, is a fictitious character that he created many years ago about himself, who he claims is the 19th elder from the Bible. Whenever York depicts Ya'anuan, he's naturally a cartoon illustration of himself. There you go. And to this day, Nuwaubians believe and accept this character, Ya'anuan, to be the real spaceman from the planet he calls Risk. Are you fucking kidding me? The self-professed extraterrestrial York is currently incarcerated in a federal prison in Colorado. This is the essence of pseudoism and spookology. This is just amazing to me. Like, Madam Whip-Ass, I can say that I'm from space Lakadoodle planet and just have masses of people follow me and convince them all to relocate to another state or even another country. And I am their leader. and they believe everything I say. And I can create a language called fuckachuck, and we'll all speak fuckachuck, and people will buy into it. That's amazing. How do they do this shit? That's his mama. She was born in Philly. Here's her birth certificate. That's her grave. That's her again. I had not researched this far down in this article, but at this point in time, here's a birth certificate. This is his birth certificate. This is his birth certificate. Wow. This ass was born in Boston, June 26, 1945, but he got people believing he was born on the planet Risk that nobody's ever heard of, and he's an extraterrestrial, and he's been alive for thousands of years, and he was born when he stepped off a spaceship and entered the womb of a woman. Isn't that just fucking amazing? Hey, Janine, welcome, welcome. Whew. Okay, so I came across a hangout. Dr. York victims speak out. Let's see what they talking about.
Show basically we have Tariq says he says he's in, but he doesn't see anybody. I think he might be looking at the video. Hold on, let me. You have the wrong link. I gave him the wrong link. We're actually live. We iron that out in a second. But let's just let the people know that we're here live today, and we're doing a show. Basically, we have folks who are in the in the world of, I would call it the world of Dr. York. Who has played a role or played a part or been witnessed or know the teachings. People who have been a part of that man's life, who knew him personally and have been there from the beginning, from the Bushwick days. So we're gonna have a conversation today, which I hope will trigger something bigger out of this, because a lot of folks I've seen Chuck and others on other platforms, but I would love to see this go on to be a book and a movie. So 200, 100 years from now, anybody try to bring this craziness up, we have the defense ready, for so forth. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't even know how to do that, bro. I don't even know how to do that because I'm not tech savvy. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. Hey, peace to Tariq, who just joined us, brother. God, squad. Thanks for joining us, brother. I appreciate you coming in. All right, so the first question, let's just introduce everybody on the panel right now, right? Let me start from my left hand side. Brother Ampu, can you introduce yourself, my brother?
Yeah, Brother Ampu. I was known as Ampu inside the organization, but I'm no longer part of the organization. Left the organization officially in 2009. So I'm an ex-Nuwapian member. And while I was in the organization, I was known as Ampu Sutuk Unk, or Anabu Seti Unk. And that's it.
All right. Next beside him is my brother Chuck. Go ahead, brother. Introduce yourself.
Chuck. Chuck, you sleeping?
What's that? Go ahead, my brother. Who, me?
Yeah, you nigga.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Yeah, Chuck Morgan. Running the Nuwapianism.com. I'm an active person out.
What the hell's happening? Everybody's disappearing. Where'd everybody go? What the fuck happened? All right, y'all starting to piss me off. What?
This is Sister Donnie Addison. Go ahead, sister.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight?
All right, beautiful.
Well, I basically, long story short, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into it more later. Moved in the tab with my mom when I was about 5-6 years old. Older brother, older sister, younger sister. I grew up in Brooklyn, in Bushwick, and eventually went to Philadelphia, Cleveland, Edenton, Macon, Philly. I've been all over the place as far as mosques are concerned. Bushwick was my home for most of my life, but like I said, this is my first time doing this. I'm kind of nervous. Waiting for the dialogue to start so I can just pretty much just start spewing.
Yeah. No problem. All right. Beside you, I got my brother Farouk. Go ahead, my brother. Introduce yourself. I'll mute your mic. Introduce yourself.
Yes. Peace, everyone. Peace, everyone.
Peace, Farouk.
How's it going?
Good.
Farouk, I was introduced to the Ansar Law doctrine back in 87, 88. Spent some time upstate New York. Finally moved in or was a part of the community around 89, 90. Went by the name of Rubain during Nubian Hebrew time. My camera's not working, but those that know my mother, I'm Hannah's oldest son. Spend a lot of time down here in the South, setting up communities, specifically in Florida, raising funds, this, that, and the other.
Wow.
And since leaving the organization, I've spent a lot of my time and effort just trying to correct what I feel was my own debt or burden that I feel to correct a lot of these things that I used to teach and spread and whatnot. So I'm here for the dialogue. I appreciated Chuck and the effort and everyone else effort in this same cause. I know I've spent a lot of time on Chuck's website, Facebook group, maybe about 2 years, and I just hope that everyone appreciated my presence as much as I appreciated theirs and their input, and a lot of things that I've learned from them, especially from Donnie. We had a chance to talk. This is my first time hearing her voice, but just hearing from her and some of the things, it helped put some things, my own history in perspective. And let's get the dialogue started.
All right. Next beside him, we got Brother Maru. Maru, All right, Meru probably is busy. Let me get to my brother, Tariq. Tariq Noel, how are you doing, my brother? Introduce yourself.
I'm doing fine. Peace to everyone in the panel. My name is Tariq Noel. I was born and raised in the community back when it was Ansar Allah, back in upstate New York, down in South, and even in down south in Georgia. So I was also one of the child molestation victims, as well as many others. And I testified in court as well. So,
okay. All right. Somebody that's jumped in. Who is that? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, greetings, Brother Michael. I've been I was in the community since 1988 up until 2012. I lived in Brooklyn, Spring Valley, Philadelphia, Miami. Was visiting New York up until early 2012. Worked on various aspects of the legal case in Liberian. One of the petitions of clemency that failed with Obama in 2009, 2010. And a host of other things. I actually worked on a lot of stuff with Brother Rick that he's familiar with. So I've been around for a minute.
All right. And of course, I'm Brother Garfield. I'm the CEO of the Dagger Squad INC, and we're doing a program today. Of course, we have the urban economic show that we do on Sonita's channel, Black News 102, every Wednesday at 6 p.m., where we try to educate the community on economic empowerment and doing for self. So I just want to say, I just want to say thank you to everybody for showing up tonight. That's the first and foremost. Thanks for showing up. You know, it's always difficult to talk about things that we've been through, and to talk about things that folks might not be receptive. You know, and it might not want to receive certain information. But let me start off this. Let me start with let me introduce my last brother. I forgot my brother, Dagger Squad, Alan, Rob On. You want to introduce yourself, my brother?
Peace to the panel. My name is Rob Bourne. I'm just listening to the dialogue, see what I can learn and gather. Peace.
All right, cool. Let me talk about so let me just get to the point, and I don't want to drag this out where people are talking for 10 hours and so forth. I just want to get to some of the main points, and I'm just gonna talk off basically from what I know. I did a 4-part series on Blog Talk 2 years ago, which is all over YouTube right now. And me and Brother Rick, aka Brother Ampu, did a very good 4-part series that explained the case and what went on with the case. Let me go back into time and ask my brother, the brother that spoke last, after Fareed, the brother that used to live in Miami and used to live in Spring Valley and so forth. Seeing that from your time from 1988, can you explain to us as far as when we hear about allegations about York with, we always hear stuff about him and young boys or young females. Back in the days, were there any rumors or anything back in '88, in the early '90s that caught your ears? Now that you witnessed it, did you ever hear anything?
No, I'm gonna be honest. On the last show we did, was what I was explaining was because I was trying to paint the picture because of the lifestyle we live. We were so busy all the time from morning till night that at that time, you know, we weren't really aware of anything that was going on at that time. I did find stuff out later towards the end, going into the early 2000s when things changed. But back then, you gotta remember, we got out, we were pedaling all day, came in, we did guard. So your day consisted of 16 to 20 hours. It was set up like that, so you couldn't pay attention to what was going on. As everybody knows, all the communities, the men, women, and children were separated. So that was done in.
Hold on a second here. Hold on, my brother. Where's Farouk at? Why are you muting that brother's mic? Hold on a second here. I'll mute your mic, my brother. I don't know why Farouk, I don't know if you accidentally did that, but.
Oh, there you go, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what the last thing you heard me say was, just I don't have to repeat myself.
I wasn't trying to mute it.
Oh, okay. Because you muted Meru's mic and you muted his mic.
I might have hit it by accident. That might have been me.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
But again, as I was saying, what was the last thing I said, so I don't repeat myself again, not to waste
time. You said that you worked sometime up to 12 to 20 hours, so you were so busy.
Yeah, they consisted of, I mean, usually 16-hour days. Most of the brothers were out, like again, they were up at dawn, made Fajr prayer, then they were out on the streets till any time of the night. Then a lot of us had to come in and do guard shifts. It could have been anywhere from 3 to 4 hour shifts. So at that time, you know, no, I was not aware of anything that was going on at that time, especially in the early 80s, because we were so busy doing a bunch of things. The other thing I was saying, if you didn't hear, if the mic was muted, as everybody knows, the communities were set up where men had their own bait and living quarters, so did the females and children. Men, women, and children were separated. And, you know, looking back on it now, obviously there was a reason for that. So it was just at that time, no, we were so busy during the Ansar community times that I got to be honest, at that time, no, I wasn't aware of what was going on. I only found things out later. So let
me ask you a quick question because I don't know you. My name is Brother Garfield, and is there anything within the Ansar, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit with the teachings and the case and everything. So I don't want, because I don't know if I'm going to get back and talk back to you after everybody else talk. Right. Seeing you talk right now you paint me a picture, because I heard about Dr. York in the 90s. I came into this country in the 90s, like late 80s, 90s. I heard about him from Brooklyn, because I used to go to Windward's Collide, where the mosque number 7 Sikh of Nation of Islam, and you guys used to be out somewhere out there selling books and so forth. So I know about Dr. York that way. But let me ask you this: is there anything that you hold on to right now that you were taught by him, as far as teachings that you hold on right now in your life that you practice?
No, I've completely moved on from that 100%. So I want to make that clear. That's my position on that, because I mean, people got to understand a lot of the stuff that he was doing. There's a lot of stuff, obviously, that he ciphered from other information, so we can't get it confused. It was a lot of things that he said, took from other teachings, and added his little twist to it. So some of those things, you know, they're naturally there as far as information and knowledge. But as far as the whole ideology, no, I don't hold on to any of that stuff, because part of the process of moving forward, you have to completely just, some of those things, you know, you just have to completely, you know, negate that to move forward. So no, I don't hold on to any of it. I don't, at the same token, I don't blame, you know, Dr. York for my choice of being in it. I made that choice myself. But as far as the situation and the case and working on the case and then really uncovering the facts with the victims and things of that nature, I couldn't deny that. So I can't support or stand behind anybody that obviously harmed children, you know, of all ages. That's what woke me up, because the more I got involved in the case and had access to more information, I started to see the inconsistencies.
Oh, okay.
People got to understand, when you're in that mindset, people will always say to everybody that's coming forward now, victims or ex-members, you know, you'll hear this nonsense. Why are you saying, you know, why are you coming forward now? Or you'll hear the old rhetoric, oh, you guys are just bitter. People don't understand when you're locked in that ideology, you're not looking at it in the same perspective. So when we were locked in, caught up under all those illusions, we weren't coming from that perspective. So now that we see things in a different light because we have all the information, this is why now we come forward, because not everybody left the organization because they were bitter. They just simply woke up, because that's the old classic excuse the Milwaukeeans will use. Oh, everybody coming forward is just bitter. I ain't bitter about shit, but at the same token, I'm not going to sit here and support no man that harms children. And that's just the bottom line. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I don't hold on to any of that stuff.
By the way, respect you for that, bro. I respect you for that. And you know, we need more stand-up people like you. All right. Let me move on to brother Ampu for a second. We have a question in the back chat, but before I even ask you that question, what role, brother Ampu, what role did you play as far as before? We're talking like, what time period did you get involved with the community, and how you got involved, and did you hear anything while you were in the community?
I joined the community about 1992, around about that time. 1991, 92, from 1990 to 92 is kind of vague. And, you know, back then it was just a matter of, you know, information. And in fact, when I first got into the information, I stumbled across some books. I remember it was whatever time, you know, I'm from DC in Maryland, you know, DMV area. And we had a big winter storm that year. And I was trapped, trapped over a friend's house. A whole bunch of us were trapped over there for about a week. And he had these books. He was a barber. He worked at a barber shop. And one of the Ansars used to set up at his barber shop. And so he had a lot of the books. So we started going through some of the books. And that's how I got kind of turned on to the information. The first book, well, not the first book, but one of the books that caught my eye was the fact that it was saying that Adam and Eve had a mother and father. I was like, wow, you know. So from there, so at that point, I didn't even know that Imam Isa and Dr. Malachi York or Rabboni Yeshua, I think at the time, was the same person. I thought because he had multiple books. You know, attracted to the doctrine and you know, pursued it. Then I found a class in DC headed by brother named Sadiq at the time, but he's mental hotep, or he probably go by a different name now. Ended up finding the class that was being taught there, and he had just become a teacher there. And then from there, you know, I just kept at it until I joined the organization. Then I moved down to Georgia, moved on the land in 1997, and I was there up until we got evicted by the government once the land was forfeited in 2004. Matter of fact, me and another brother, we were the very last two people on the land. So to answer your question though, that entire time, I never saw anything myself. And really up until the arrest, or actually right prior to the arrest, you know, you know, because see, you got to understand the culture of living on the land. People that lived there, moved there, there were people that moved up on the land, and people who left. Most of the time, the people that left, they got kicked off the land for doing something, you know, something wrong or not following some kind of rules or whatever the case is. So we saw people, like a revolving door. We saw people come, saw people go. So some people that were there before me, I've seen some people leave. And the idea is that when people leave, they're bitter, and they're leaving because they got kicked off and they're bitter, this, that, and the third. So you start hearing about things, but you kind of just put it under the umbrella of, oh, they're just bitter, they're making up stuff. So, you know, so no, I didn't see anything personally, but yeah, you started to hear some stuff prior to him being arrested. There was some things being said, going around by people who left, but you know, you kind of tend to write it off because of bitterness, that whole idea of being bitter. You know, so not to be long with it, that's pretty much.
All right. Let me just get this question out of the way that the person just asked for you and Mike. The person is best kept. Question for Ampu and Brother Mike. Did Mr. York ever explain why he asked you for your help with his freedom? In hindsight, do either of them feel like they were manipulated? If yes, how? You want me to read it again? This from Ampu. Go ahead.
All right, I'll answer that first. He asked me to get involved with helping him in his case because he after he was arrested, right when he was arrested, there was a very, very small few people that was dealing directly with his case, even new information. Like even us that live on the land, we were in the dark, you know, because it was kind of hush hush of what's going on. You only heard things about, obviously, on the news and stuff, but as far as dialogue on what's really going on, we were in the dark. So then at a certain point, I started to communicate to him when he was arrested. I started to write him. And I used to write him and describe what I observed, what I felt that was going on, and what we should do, you know, at that particular time. So, and he appreciated what I used to tell him and report to him, so much so that he saw that, you know, he said I have a scientific mind, I have an analytical mind, you know, I'm a, you know, I give solutions and say what it is and raw information. So from there, this is what he told me. So from there, he asked me to go ahead and get involved. He said, you know, if anybody gives me any problems of getting involved, just let him know to speak to him. So that was that's, you know, him kicking me in the door to actually help directly on his case. And from that point forward, I helped directly with every single thing and privy to every single thing from start to finish.
Okay. Hey, Mike, that's for you too, brother.
Yeah, you know, basically how it works is, York usually selected people he had established long-term relationships with. Now, again, myself, whether it was from the Ansar days up until, recent days, he always appointed people titles. That was one of his little games to kind of create that whole special vibe. I mean, up until the point, like, we had a rotating triad from like 2007 to 2009 that I was teaching at. But pretty much from the beginning when he got incarcerated, I'm gonna say 04, 05, he basically wrote me letters, which I have a stack of them here that I'm having in front of me in case we need any references. Basically explaining to me the situation, what was going on. Basically, he came at me with the Liberian angle, as far as, which, as I found out and researched further, it was basically all a fraud. It was just an honorary thing that was made up, and that there's no diplomatic immunity to it whatsoever, because nobody can come forward and produce any document other than hearsay. And if you claim to be a Nuwaubian and you deal with sound right reasoning, you got to have evidence to support that. And most of them have no evidence to support it. Trust me, I worked on the shit for years. There's nothing you can bring forward to confirm it. But bottom line is, that was kind of my angle in. But then I also worked with the inner courts on human rights, which we did a bunch of work with that, trying to bring in the international courts on torture things. I mean, we tried every angle you can pretty much think of. If you would have told York that he was Papa Smurf, he probably would have believed it. I mean, it got to the point towards the end, he was so desperate that people were coming to him with all types of crazy ideas to try to get him out, and he would just run with it. I mean, I was just looking at an affidavit that some fake ass affidavit that they made his mother do, claiming in 2001 that he was born in Ghana and she never told him. Just crazy shit like that. But he basically brought me on board because I had a relationship. I mean, I've had bookstores and all the aforementioned states, taught in that rotating triad, wasn't there, all those little Mickey Mouse clubs that he created. But basically it was a trust thing, as far as he felt comfortable with certain people. And basically one thing he told me in that letter that he sent me was, because I was fearless, because I basically don't give a shit. He knows that as far as jumping into something and getting something done. And if you lived in the community all those years, even on, like Andrew was saying, even in Georgia, York was about getting results. If you didn't make money, you weren't building, weren't getting things done, you weren't in his inner circle. He had things set up in layers. He had an inner circle close to him. He had the sheeple that he would take advantage of, pretty much. I mean, we could be here all day talking about that. So he knew what he was doing. He selected people because he knew who had talents and who could help. Like Brother Andrew was saying, he had certain gifts that he had pointed out why he wanted to bring him aboard. He knew how to do that to some people, but at the same token, he kept people that he kind of established a relationship with. So for the most part.
All right, I'm gonna Clarence, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want Ampu to answer it real fast. He said, ask Ampu, was it possible for York to contract herpes from an adult and not the children they accuse him of? To me, it's a stupid question, but I'm still gonna ask it. All right, Ampu, go ahead, Ampu. Let's respond quickly, 30 seconds.
Well, quickly, he's asking if York can contract herpes from an adult rather than children. I mean, that's of course. Anybody can contract herpes from anybody who has herpes.
Let me ask you this, Ampu. Wasn't it the case that they say that the children got it from him, not that York got it from the children? Oh my God, I can't believe I even read that question. You know what, man? Let's move on.
No, but hold up. But let me just address it. 30 seconds. First of all, people need to understand that the herpes issue was not used at his trial. All right. So whenever people talk about herpes and for or against it, it wasn't used at trial. Now, what it did do is that when York tested positive for herpes 2, that's when his lawyers at the time, which was Garland, Samuel, and Loeb firm, Edward Garland and Manny Aurora, that's when they started to push him, well, not push him, but to advise him to start thinking about pleading guilty. Okay, so that's the catalyst for the whole talks about the plea agreement, and a lot of people don't know that. So again, it was his blood work coming back in 2002, late 2002, around August, September, October, that the lawyers started to advise him to think about going towards a plea, because their whole thing was that they will never be able to convince a jury that his positive test of herpes 2 and 2 of the listed victims test a positive herpes 2, that it wasn't connected. That was the bottom line.
All right, cool. All right. I want the audience to understand. We got 50 people watching. This is gonna be a well-watched show, I could tell. And I want the audience to be attentive. And I want to introduce this sister right now. Sister Addison, I want to introduce you. I want you to
Okay. I'm really almost ready to just end this. This man gave children herpes. Okay. I'm just going to listen to this sister, and then after her, I think I just can't imagine what she's going to come through with. But I'm going to listen to her. I mean, if I just heard that this man was giving children herpes, I can't imagine what her story is, but I'm warning you now. If she come through with some shit worse than that, or equally as egregious, I'm just gonna hang up this hangout. I really want to do it right now, but let's continue.
tell your story, and I want you to do it in your way. I want you to feel comfortable. All right, you are on the land from Bushwick days. You went upstate New York. Eventually, you ended up on the land in Georgia. Can you tell us how you met Dr. York personally, and how did the relationship develop and so forth? The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Hey guys. I pretty much told my story. Can you guys hear me okay?
For some reason you're chipping in and out, chipping a little bit. Speak again, sister. Let me hear you.
Audio really choppy. I've been meaning to say that, but I didn't want to cut into anybody's conversation.
Okay. Your audio. Everybody else. Everybody else. You know what? Do me a favor, everybody. Everybody mute their mic and let the sister alone talk.
Okay, and she probably might have to leave right out and come right back in.
Woo! You want to take that chance, sister? Just press N and then come right back in. And she's like, sheesh, because she's new to the hangout. Just press the stop button.
If it's gonna be a problem, don't do it. We'll bear with it.
All right, everybody mute their mics and let's see how the sister sounds. Everybody mute their mic, please. I'm gonna mute it myself. Then continue, sister. Keep talking.
Okay, that sounds better.
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start talking. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you. Sound good.
Okay. Who am I talking? Is that Chuck?
Yeah.
Hey, honey, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this over with. My mom. I'm from Jamaica, Queens originally, and I remember being really little, maybe first, second grade, maybe younger than that. My mom we used to have to go to Jamaica. We crossed Jamaica Avenue to go to school. My mom was taking college classes. I mean, it was Jamaica Avenue. Everybody goes Jamaica Avenue. And I remember her passing by these brothers in jalabias and, taquillas, and they have the table and they're, propagating. I didn't know what the word was back then, but I know it now. There was this one brother that caught her eye, and within the next couple of weeks, months, I remember her coming home with pamphlets, or the books, whatever they were called back then, and incense, and slowly but surely, our life started to change a little bit. And I remember having to go to school with a little hijab on, a little headpiece, and I knew things were changing. I didn't know what it was, but fast forward, my mom's put in applications to move into the community. I didn't really know what the community meant, but my mom said it was for the best of us. I mean, think about it. She's a single mom. She's got 4 kids. She's going to school. She's working 2 jobs. She's trying to make a life for us. And next thing you know, she's putting in this paperwork, and she's excited, and she's like, we're moving in. They accepted us. Okay, cool. So, when we move into this place, we've been to newcomers classes and all this stuff, and we move in, and we're brownies, we're new people, and all of a sudden, this family unit that we had is like, I don't want to sit there and say it was shattered. It just wasn't what I remember. My brother was shipped off to the boys' house. My little sister was sent to her group. I went to my group. My big sister went to her group, and we settled in a routine. I remember being a little traumatized at first, I'm not gonna lie. I had an okay childhood. It was a little. It was different. We went to school and we wore the hijab, and we would tease sometimes and on for anything. We grew up. Your mu'minun, your mu'minati. That's your family. That's what you have. That's what you. Fast forward. I guess you guys want to hear what really happened, right? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we.
Yeah, go ahead, Don. We hear you loud and clear. Don't want to interrupt.
So, I need feedback, just so you guys let me know I'm not just talking to the screen.
No, we're right here. I'll leave mine open, and then I'll give you. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. So, I remember turning, I want to say 15, 14, 15, and things started to change, and you figure on it because, number one, we're raised in an environment where you're a young Muslim woman, you're covered up, you have the veil on, you have the hijab on, and you basically, your future has already been decided for you.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and go to school. Nothing is beyond that. You're going to marry a young man that we feel is, your match, and you're going to help with the nation and have babies and blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like the worst plan ever, right?
Right.
Oh, as mu'minati, which means in Arabic, young, faithful women, you imagine the mu'minun, young, faithful men, you imagine the boy that you're going to marry or maybe have babies with,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all we had. All we had was each other. And I remember one year, I think it was the year I turned 15, maybe going on 16. I was in high school. I may have been a sophomore. And all of a sudden, this rule came around that all the girls ages so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so have to get after school jobs. So it's like, okay, whatever. So I get an after school job. I get picked to work in BATSHYT, which is, kind of like on Hart Street in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
the Holland Isles.
Right.
Because my older sister worked there. My older sister was, wow, I need to rewind. But anyway, my older sister was already one of his wives.
Mm.
story. So y'all bookmark that so I can, you know. But anyway, so I get to the office. I'm excited because I'm getting to meet the man and see the man. You know, all my life he's been like the Pope, like, you know, he shows up with candy and cupcakes and, you know, he kisses everybody on the cheek and, you know, you feel special. And I remember sitting next to my sister and he walks in, he used to wear cowboy boots. Mm-hmm. And he walks in the office and you hear these doom, doom, doom. You hear his footsteps, like it's like everybody sits up straighter, everybody looks cuter when he comes around. And he stops by my sister's desk. And this is like pre-computer, you know. We work in the mailroom. And we're actually doing ledgers by hand. Who brought it? How much money was it? What books did we give them? How much incense? How much soap? Whatever. And he stops on my sister's desk after, of course, he's like, you know, did the Pope thing of everybody else. And he looks at me and he says to my sister, he says, "Oh, well, who's this?" Now, this is a man that has known me since I was a kid. He knows who I am. Mm-hmm. And he says to my sister, "Well, who's this?" And he looks at me and I tell him my name. And he's like, "Oh my God." He said, "You're cute. You're lit." And he says, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 15. And he says, "So when are you going to be 16? And I told him my birthday. And he looks at my sister, who he's married to at the time, and he says to her, "Damn, I should have waited."
What year was this?
What year was this? I was 15, so backtrack it. Do I have to tell you guys how old I am?
No. About the late 80s. 80s, early 90s. Let's just leave it out there, vaguely.
I'm joking. Listen, I'm nervous. I'm just joking. I was in high school still. I graduated in 92, so I was 18. I would have to say it had to be 90, 91. And just so you guys know, so I don't bore you, I am telling little anecdotes. I'm telling little stories so people can see the program. People can see the manipulation. People can see the premeditation, for lack of a better word. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We talk a lot. I hear a lot about the trial, Edenton, Georgia, which is so fucking important to me. Excuse my language. I'm so sorry.
Feel free.
Which is so important to me because there are people that I love. I have little sisters and brothers that were affected by that. You know, I'm not trivializing that in any way. My voice here is to make sure that people understand this is not something that popped up out of nowhere. This is not something that just decided to happen in Georgia. I'm trying to show people there is a pattern of behavior for this man. And it always has been. Had he not, to this day, I don't even know how he got caught. But I know for a fact, he would still be doing just as much damage to so many other people. And it's like, I feel bad that we have limited time.
Hold a second, Donnie. Hold a second, sister. Hold a second. You want to get something to drink or something? Because I know this is getting kind of touchy. And I want to say something for the audience real carefully. The first time Donnie coming on in public and speaking about what happened to her, and I see Dr. Yaya in the audience. She deals with psychiatry and psychology, and she'll tell you she knows what you're going through. And I say this, man. People got to remember, this is in Bushwick at the time, right? When you're talking about when you were 15, you were at Bushwick, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me help you out. All right. When was the first time you and Dr. York ever had an encounter sexually, if you want to talk about that? At what age?
With me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was it was the New Year's. No. I was just turned 18. It was the New Year's, the year I turned 18.
Okay. Well, he prepped you.
Or maybe it was another holiday.
Okay, but he prepped you before though. He knew, he basically from the jump, you know, he's basically telling your sister, who he's married to, that he should have picked, he should have waited, basically talking about you. So he had his eyes on you. Now, while you're living in Bushwick, is there other people
that was
age that he also ended up having a relationship with?
My sister. Do you want me to tell the story about my sister?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This means that we're rewinding a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
This is before I even was in the picture. I was my sister's 5 years older than me, 4.5 years older than me. My mom and my stepdad in Brooklyn got called to a meeting with Doc. But at the time that we called him, we didn't call him Doc, then we called him Abu back then. It was Abu, Baba, Doc, whatever. And knew something was happening as young women. We didn't know what, because we were not privy to that information. However, what turned out happening is Baba or Abu or Imam Isa, whatever you want to call him, he had his eye on my older sister. So he called a meeting with my mom and my stepdad at the time. His name was Ibrahim. Very respectable, trustworthy, amazing man, pillar of the community, if you will. And he pulled my mom and my stepdad to the side and basically told them that I'm to marry my sister off, but nobody wanted her. So he was going to take her off their hands. Because we were raised in an environment where you were supposed to be married by the time you were like 18, 19. You know, if you weren't married by then you were like an old maid. They put that shit into effect. And my mom and my stepdad, I wasn't there, but apparently they agreed. They figured, well, shoot, what higher honor could we have than by having our daughter married to the imam? In exchange, my mom and my stepdad were basically given the Cleveland mosque. So when you're given a mosque, you're special. Like, you're up there. Like, you're an upper echelon. You made it. And that's basically what happened. My sister was 18 years old, just recently graduated from high school, a virgin, a mu'minati her whole life, never been with a boy, never been with a man. But your agenda is so devious that you can figure out a way to get this young girl. My sister, well, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people don't know, my sister was the first of the mu'minati that he actually wed or, you know, took as a wife. And the thing about that situation is it was unprecedented because people thought that that would just be it. She's special. Oh my God, she's special. He took her for a wife. People didn't realize that was the precedent. People didn't realize that he was going to use that to scoop up everybody else he wanted. Okay?
Yep. Got it.
So you send her mom and you send her dad to Cleveland and you give them all this responsibility, and they are so 100% sure that their daughter is in the right fucking hands. They go about their business and they sell your books and your incense, and they spread the doctrine in their little world. The imam, you know, their imam and even mama right now, they're in charge. They don't have to worry about anything else. So I'm in Cleveland now, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gone away from my home. I don't know anybody here, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, my mom gets a phone call. Well, it's time for one. It's time for Shahida to come here. My mom didn't hesitate, which is something that I'm still dealing with right now with my mom. Why didn't you say, oh, no, she's not going up there? My mom was like, okay, you're going to go up there and help with the mission, you know, and you pack my bags. And you send me to this man that you already gave your first daughter to, you know, and I don't know what's going on. I'm really in my heart thinking truly. Number one, I'm safe. Nothing's gonna happen to me. He's not gonna try. I heard the rumors. He's not gonna do anything to me. I'm family. My sister is his wife. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I get up there, and it's like a whole nother story. I'm like, I'm being put in a whole nother situation because this man apparently wants to have sex with me. One of the girls that he raised from damn near childhood to be virginal and faithful and trustworthy and pious and all those. We used to have a fucking recite the 12 virtues of a Muslim woman, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
With you, aren't you the man that taught me these? Aren't you the man that taught me these virtues? And it's confusing and it's terrifying because you grew up in a society that you're really not nothing if you don't have your virginity.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what defined us. That's what defined who you are as a young Muslim woman. And all of a sudden, you're rubbing on me, you're rubbing my nipples, you're making lewd comments about my ass, and it's like, I'm calling you Abu. How do I call you Abu when you're rubbing on my ass? Excuse me, is that? And I don't know.
Hey, Donnie, this is what I'm gonna do for your sister, this brother Garfield. I'm gonna give you a 5-minute break. I'm gonna bring in my brother Tariq and have him Tariq at this time period in the 1992. I don't know your age, beloved. What was going on with you at this time period? And Donnie, by the way, Donnie, we feel your pain, sister. Have a drink, take your time. We feel your pain. Trust me. We feel your pain. And hearing this is just upsetting me even more to see that you went through this. All right. And that's why I said, let me just take a break. Let me mute your mic and let me bring, a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave your mic open whenever you're ready to come back on and talk some more. If you want to add on to what Tariq says, or if Sister Nikki want to jump in, just jump on it. I want you to feel as comfortable. This is the first time you're doing this. I don't want any pressure. You come in and talk. And obviously this is a tough situation, reminiscing this for you. All right? All right, brother Tariq, go ahead, my brother.
Yes, so 92.
Tariq's mic is messed up too. Why everybody's mic messed up tonight? What's going on? Hold on a second. Chuck, let me hear your mic.
Yeah, check one.
All right, let me hear Ampu.
Yes. Check 1, check 2. Microphone checker.
All right, Tariq, go ahead, Tariq. Let me hear you right. Do you have anything on in your house? Do you have the YouTube on or the Facebook on?
No, I think it's probably cut out today, but I'm not.
It sounds horrible, brother. It sounds horrible. All All right, mute your mic for a second, Tariq. Let me see if we can iron that out. And in the meantime, Sister Nikki, if you could introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing, sister?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm Brother Garfield from the Dagger Squad. I'm glad to have you on. Could you just introduce us, tell us how you're involved in any way, shape, or form with Dr. York?
I was raised in the community. My mom was following the doctrine since I was like 4 or 5, moved in when I was 11. I became a part of the family at some point and raised as his kid, and eventually as his biological kid. I grew up with Donnie in Brooklyn, and was taken upstate New York when I was a teenager, and taken to Edenton, Georgia. And I'm also the older sister of Tariq and my sister, who was also a victim. So my mom has 3 kids that were victimized by him, as well as I have 2 siblings that are his children. So I was there. I also testified against him.
What age did any incident at all happen? Can you just tell us that? I don't want you to go into details. Can you just tell us what age any incident happened with you and Mr. York?
I was 13.
You was 13, okay.
I was in Brooklyn. I remember the time when we had to come and, get skills, and we were broken up into small groups. Some people were in the different departments. Some people were in the back office where his wives were, and of us were starting to be separated and being sent to his house to help, hang out and help clean, etc. And so I was 13 when that part started, and would go in his house and, like that.
Let me stop you for a second. I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you personally, I'm gonna get personal right now. Have you gotten therapy for what has happened to you in your life?
I've actually started at the end of 2015 in December. So I've never received therapy beforehand, but it's just a lot of things that I felt were in terms of what I do or how I was feeling or things, because I just stayed busy and just kept going. So I'm actually in counseling for the first time ever in life. I've been there 13 months now. When I got last year, my therapist told me basically that I'm still in survival mode and didn't process anything, which was, interesting and shocking to me because, I testified. I'm one of the victims and witnesses who, has always been consistent with what I said. And I even use some of my story and stuff that happened to me to help others, but I've never really focused in on myself. So I'm actually stepping it back and just trying to,
let me ask you inside. Let me ask you this. At 13, certain things happened with you. Did you ever have actual children for Dr. York?
No, I do have 2 siblings that are his kids. With my situation, it was a little unique insofar as I was actually raised as his daughter. So even though he was doing things with me, he was also, at one point, I thought he was actually my biological father. So, that's also something that I dealt with that not everybody dealt with. All these things are happening. And for me, he was my father. So
let me ask you this. Your mom had 3 children, Tariq, yourself, and someone else. And how was your mom? What was your mom's response to all those things that you said? Was she still a part of the movement? Did she leave with you? How did she respond to it?
She didn't leave with me. There was a lot of actions happening before I left and after I left, and getting my sister out of there. And there was a lot of back and forth that went when I helped my sister escape from there. Originally, I told my mom that my sister was going to run away, so I picked her up. But really, between me and my brother, who was still there on the land, And my actual biological father that I found when I left, we coordinated to help my sister escape from there. And basically, Doc was trying to have me bring her back. And even he told some people, you know, the outside story was she got kicked out for being rebellious or whatever have you. But the inner side circle story was he told my mom to, you know, have me bring her back through kind of a struggle and a battle, you know, back and forth. And at the time when I left, I was just like, you know, I'm raised like, hey, you know, if you leave those places, you're basically, you know, as good as dead, or just thinking, okay, I'm going to die. But for me, being on the outside world, even if it meant death, was better than where I was at.
Let me ask you a personal question right now. Are you a millionaire?
No.
Do you live in a mansion?
No, I don't. Okay. I live in an affordable house and art community.
Look at that. All right. You know why I asked you that? Do you know why I asked you that?
Yeah, supposedly I got paid. I'm you know, from the FBI and all these things. I did receive a humanitarian award, but in connection to my contributions, but I didn't get paid. I have a car note that actually hasn't been paid this month. So I don't live in a mansion. You know, I don't get paid for what I say. There's nothing for me to gain other than repeating the same things I've said before and getting attacked online. But no.
Hey, I just want to say I appreciate you coming on, and you know what, we in the community, I support and applaud what you did. Because of what you did, you have made a monster behind the jail, and I just want to applaud you for that. Yeah. All right, let me get your brother in here, man. If his signal, he ain't got that cheap cable. I know he definitely ain't no millionaire. Sounding like that. You know what I'm saying? Let me get your brother in. Can you mute your mic, please, Nikki? Thank you. Sister Addison, I want to let you know that whenever you want to chime in, you can interrupt me, Kareem, doesn't matter. You have free range. And whenever you feel comfortable talking or you want to add on to something, let's say, excuse me, I got to add this one, right? So it's the first time you're doing this. It's very emotional, going down memory lane. I can't even imagine, to be honest, how you feel. I have never gone through what you've gone through, but right now I feel like I'm about to be in tears just listening to you guys right now. This is sad, man. Really sad. This is really sad. The lies, it's not even a matter of 1 and 2 lies. You're talking about hundreds of lies or thousands of lies, but you're talking about people who he was intimate with who now have to look at the opposite sex differently.
Saying to me when I was pregnant, because I'm like, I didn't have a normal point of reference to go by, so that was like really adding for me, bringing a kid in the world, not knowing definitely he would never be how I was.
Wow. I'm gonna go to the chat. Ooh-wee. Sandra says she sounds as traumatized as the other young lady. Yakuvel, hello. York has old books selling for $50 and up. There's a fool on Amazon trying to sell an old book for $500. He didn't write none of those books. Other people wrote them with tons of plagiarism. Yakuvel says that cultism is deep. RJP says, right. Lots of it resembled the work of Zechariah Sitchin, or is it Stitchin, and Von Daniken. While there are exceptions, I slide back from anything that resembles a cult, i.e. MLM. What is MLM? Internet social network cult, religious cult, business model cult, etc. What's MLM? Yeah, we've watched an hour of that. This hangout is over 3 hours long. We can do a part 2 and a part 3 and get back to them. I can see I just have to take this in 60-minute increments and digest what I hear, because I just can't go any further right now. That's just way too damn heavy for me. It's like, I don't know how people are doing things like this with their daughters. Like the first young lady, how her stepfather and her mother was given a mosque. And like, I just don't understand how this all made sense to them. Yes, multi-level marketing occults too. Like, what was that one? Starts with an A. Back in the day, Am something, not Amtrax, Amway. I heard that thing was a cult. I heard Home Depot was a cult. Upper level management. I hear that, you know, these people be working like 80 hours a week and they never spend time with their family, although they make a lot of money, but they'll always work. They're always at work. And this was information I read back in like the early 2000s about Home Depot being a cult. Credit repair cults. Credit repair cults. Home Depot started as a cult. Yeah, I remember reading about this back in like 2000 or 2001 about Home Depot, but it's only upper management. And there's always like, you know, besides putting in so many hours when you're in upper management, you always got to go to these trainings, and these trainings are always out of town, or they're just always so far away, and you always got to make these trainings and meetings and all types of stuff. And the same thing I heard about Amway, which I never understood. I had a neighbor around the corner back in the day that was selling Amway. And it was like stuff you can go to the supermarket and buy. I didn't understand that whole business concept. But I just know she had stacks and stacks of product hoarding her house, Amway products. I wonder if Amway is still going on. Credit repair cults. I know somebody was telling me something that's completely legal. If you have bad credit and something about getting new social security numbers or some crap they was trying to explain to me. And you know, when people start, I don't mind talking about finances and financial savvy situations, but it has to make sense to me. And if it sounds borderline criminal, I just tune it out. Yeah, it sure is deep, Miss Sandra. A little bit too deep. So we're going to do part 2 and part 3. And like I said, it's 3 hours. We did 1 hour. Part 2 will be the next hour, and part 3 will be the next hour. I just can't take it in all at once. This is, I just don't get it. And I study these cult leaders. I mean, I can expound and express their behaviors, their tactics, and all of that. I don't think I will ever grasp how a man can tell you that he's an extraterrestrial being and he was born when this woman was giving birth. He came from a spaceship and jumped in her womb. Who believes shit like that? The Z card, he says, look up the Z card. Okay, give me a second. I want to stop this screen share. Maybe I stopped the screen share. Who knows? What the hell is a Z card? He said, look up the Z cards. Well, Z card, here we come. Z card is about managing your business's fuel costs. It has something to do with oil. What you talking about, Yacovel? Z black card. The hell's a Z black card? ZBlackCard.com. Ultra Elite Prepaid Rewards Card. Z-Tegrity. Troy Mason. That sound like a nigga. The Ritz-Carlton card. The Gold card. American Express Black card. Cards for everyone else. The Rush card. Money card. What if there were a prepaid card with the world-class rewards of an Ultra Elite credit card? They're trying to fit a square into a round hole. How will my Z-Tegrity Z Black card reward me? Your Z-Tegrity card comes with a business that earns you both elite rewards and cash rewards. Simply invite others to acquire our card, and each time a card member in your network invite others who also become card holders, we will add money to your card's account. Over time, your card's cash rewards and special perks will be determined by the activity of over 88,000 card holders in your network. Because everyone uses prepaid cards now, you can earn a six-figure income. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bullshit. Designed to be the most prestigious card you own. Referral commission. $69.95 customer plan. $99.95 starter plan. $149.95 basic plan. $239.95 premium plan. Acquire a card now. You know what? The Z card can kiss my Z ass. Oh, that makes sense, because, you know, people got bad credit. They want to buy a new car. They want their credit fixed, and I can get you into this plan, get this Z card, and start using the Z card, and it'll boost up your credit points. And Get this plan, $149.95. Wow. When all you got to do is just pay your damn bills, whatever you owe, pay that shit off. How about that? Wow. New Wapians. And he came with his language from his planet Risk, and he speaks Nuwapic. Ain't that a kick in the damn head? How do people fall for shit like that? You speak Nuwapic? You're from planet Risk? Really? You're an extraterrestrial being? And you coming back for something like 144,000? Why does that sound like Jehovah Witnesses bullshit? How is Jehovah Witness shit entangled with extraterrestrial shit? I'm going back to the Z Black card for some reason. Maybe I just need to get a laugh. Because, Z Black card. They even got videos. I ain't watching the damn videos. It can help you upgrade your automobile. And then they got fancy, expensive cars like Benzes and stuff for niggas who can't even afford a Yugo. But this Z card is going to help them get a damn Benz. And they probably still live in an apartment, but they're going to get a Benz with a $2,500 a month car payment, because that makes a lot of sense to them. It's time to reward yourself. And it look like they got people on a cruise. This chick chilling on a a lounge chair on a boat, looking through a magazine. Oh boy, the images. Not only does our luxury Z Black card pay for your purchases, it also allows you to qualify for amazing vacations, sporting events, shopping sprees, and even a luxury car of your choice. Really? The hell with hard work, right? All you need is a Z Black card. This card is a miracle. All right, that's enough of the Z Black card. These people are full of shit. You can win a Rolex. Get the fuck out of here, Yakuvel. Oh, the Benz is a reward based on how many suckers you pull in. And you can win a Rolex too. And Troy Mason is a Negro. You can tell by the name. Huh. Wow. And you know what? No matter how many suckers you pull in, you'll never win a Benz. That's just a damn fictitious carrot they dangle in front of you. Multi-level marketing. Such scams, man. Scams. Well, I thank you all for hanging out with me. There will be a part 2 and 3 of this Dr. York sucker. I don't know why. I just heard about him several months ago. But he's a real humdinger. And you know, it's just good not to look at anybody as your leader. I mean, you can respect someone, admire someone, and you know, appreciate and apply whatever kernels of wisdom they might spread before you. But never make no man your God and whatever they say is gold. You know, I'm amazed at the YouTube popular cult leader in these parts. You know, when I hear people say, but Tommy said, Tommy says, well, by that logic, they start talking like him. It's weird, man. Very weird, creepy, scary even. But yeah, man, cults are amazing. One more thing I gotta look for. There's a quick video that just came across my mind. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. This is something that crossed my mind. Just something interesting.
This will be the first of my series of videos on how to know you're in a cult. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that if you are what they call love bombed, keep your eyes open and your ears peeled. Love bombing means just what the word says. That means that people are just bombing you with love, that killing you with kindness. They're so eager, they're so shiny and happy, and everyone just loves you.
Ah, that's not the video I was looking for. Let's see what this one is.
You're unique. Your healthcare should be as unique as you are. That
I want to talk about love bombing. To me, love bombing is when you take love and you use it to manipulate other people in order for them to believe, in order for you to believe their ideology. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, if you look at cults and you look at religions, a lot of times they're using love as the mechanism to bring people in to their way of thinking. Now, as human beings, we need love. Biologically, we've shown, and research has actually shown, that love is a very, very important thing to us. In fact, if you look throughout time, a lot of the songs we create, a lot of the films we make, a lot of the poetry we do, a lot of the things we do in life is to find love. Now, whether that's love in a relationship or just somebody loving you and caring about you or your parents or whatever else, love obviously plays a big factor and role within human relationships and other mammalian species, including, for example, monkeys. There was a study that was done that showed that there was a monkey in a cage, and he basically had two mothers in the cage, even though there were two fake mothers. One was the basic necessities like food, water, whatever. The other one was comfort. If you notice, the monkey kept going to the comfort over and over and over. Even though his basic needs, even though he needed this, he kept going over to the comfort side of the cage just to show how important comfort and love is to people. Now, here's where I find the problem with it, and I'm going to put it as two parallels, okay? I want you to look at it as a representation of like when you're in a relationship and when you're within a cult and a religion, okay? So let's take the relationship for a minute. A lot of times people get into bad relationships, especially people that don't value themselves or love themselves enough. What they do is they find people to give them the validation, that love, and sometimes they're not actually finding people that are actually good for them all the time. They're just finding people that are going to appeal to their basic love triggers and love mechanisms. And oftentimes that person is now using love against that person. That person is now controlling that person. And that person has a really hard time seeing the controls that are happening within that relationship. And you know, there's a lot of times you can talk to this person and say, hey, look, this may not be the best thing for you, especially if it becomes violent, and then especially if it becomes detrimental to their health. And yet sometimes they still can't see it because they're caught up in that love, or what they perceive to be love mentality. Okay, so let's go back to cults and religions. A lot of times you obviously know that a lot of ways they pull these people into their thinking is using love. That the group leaders, the people within the group make you feel love, make you feel like you're a part of a community. There's that social bonding. There's that need to feel like you're a part of something, which is normal. We're social creatures, we need that. So a lot of times you get into that thinking and it feels like this is your new family, and they feel like, wow, you know, these people are really caring people. They keep talking about love and how important it is to help one another. It's tapping into your emotional reasoning, okay, for you to feel like that the group is actually there to help you, okay? Now, we also have things beyond that, that's supernatural, that we perceive to think that they love you, okay? Like, for example, people say, well, God loves you. It's always about the supernatural. Even in UFO cults, I always hear all the time that like the Palladians are here, or the UFOs are here because they're watching over us because they love you, or that God loves you and that's why he's watching over everything that you're doing, okay? It's appealing to your basic emotional instincts that, if you realize, probably started when you were a child. You know, the first instinct you have was that authority figure, whether it's your parents or grandparents or aunt or whoever, whether or not they gave you sufficient amount of love. I think it's that parenting thing that makes us biologically adapted to wanting to feel like we're protected and loved and cared for. And I think that's a reasonable feeling. There's nothing wrong with that, wanting to feel that from the world and from yourself. Sometimes people, when they feel this way, though, they have a very hard time thinking outside of themselves or thinking outside of the groupthink mentality. And just like when you're in that relationship and something's happening to you, they're not thinking in a logical manner. You try to tell them, hey, look, maybe this isn't the best idea. Maybe these aren't good ideas. They have a cognitive bias to it because, and I think one of them that creates it is that emotional cognitive bias of saying, oh, no, these people love me. This is love. This is what I need to feel. It's a disconnect from that. It's like, wait a minute, I thought this was love. But sometimes what we're perceiving to be love may not actually be real. Just like in that violence relationship, sometimes that person is trying to control you. They use this love bombing on you and they keep bombarding you with love, 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 and love your neighbor and love yourself and love this, that you tend to turn away from all the negative other aspects of it. And when I look at religion, especially religion in the world that I see today, a lot of them always claim that the reason why they can be the way that they are is because of love. It's like, I am right, or I'm justified in doing what it is that I'm doing. And they don't realize they're actually being controlled. You know, when we look at the Jonestown Massacre, or we look at David Koresh, none of these people decided they were going to wake up one day and be like, you know what, I feel like being in an occult today. No one does that. It's because they felt like they were in a sense of community. That's what we do as social creatures. And what happens is that you get caught up in these people that you consider now to be your family and friends. And now there's this ideology that's changing because either the leader or the group is going off into one direction, and your cognitive biases are not letting you pay attention to the facts, to the reasons why this may not be good. And there's been study after study that's shown many, many times that human beings will follow the group even though they know the group is wrong. There's been many experiments done that an individual has a very, very hard time thinking outside of the group, even when it's wrong. Well, think about it. When you're adding love, they're manipulating your basic instincts for love to keep you confined within that group, and you have a hard time thinking outside of it. And so my concern is that people are going to make really bad decisions within these groups because they're not thinking logically, because they're letting their emotions get to them. And I guess the same thing could be said in relationships when you're not thinking clearly too. So my advice is that anytime you're in a system that you feel like people are love bombing you over and over and over again, think about it. Think about what's going on in that mentality. We all need love. We all need to feel like we're a sense of community. And we all want to feel like we belong. And sometimes we're vulnerable when we feel alone, when we feel depressed, when we feel insecure about ourselves, that we'll just listen to people that want to tell us what we want to hear, and we'll give up our own mental faculties and our own reasoning to feel like we belong within these groups. We're all guilty of it. We just have to think a little bit better about it and hopefully make better decisions and not let the group dictate everything we're trying to do. So I'm Ben Fama Jr. This is Think It Freely. If you have a question, hit me up on Twitter, Ask Ben Fama Jr. Hashtag Ask Ben Fama Jr. Hit me up on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. I'll answer your questions as soon as possible, and please subscribe. Thank you.
That wasn't exactly the video I was looking for anyway, but it was good enough, I think. Let me see. Oh, y'all are having a good conversation here. Let's see. They don't think they were part of a cult, Miss Sandra? And RJP says, that's right, at Miss Sandra. It's hard to see when you're inside the picture frame, in picture frame, mentally nearsighted perspectives. What the hell? This cracker just made some shit up. Ain't no such thing as love bombing. Crackers are always trying to sound profound. Yes, it is. That's a term. That's something that a cult does when they just bomb you with love. Everybody loves you. These are a group of people that are concerned about you. The leader loves you. You can sit and eat with the leader. The leader always wants you in their presence. It's really profound. Miss Sandra said, well, we just heard from the Nuwapians was different. And RJP says, emotionally manipulative, exploitive, opportunistic, parasitic predators. Yakuvel says, this motherfucker said love bombing. He just can't get over that term. RJP says, I heard that word in the 90s movie. It was probably used during that hippie era. Yakuvel says, sounds like the name of a hip-hop album. Yakuvel says, sound bombing from Ruckus Records. Look it up. Love bombing. Sounds like a Tribe Called Quest CD. Oh, Lord. Hey, Janine. There are such things as love bombing. It's a tactic in a cult. Yes, it is. But anyway, it is 10 p.m. And just want to thank you again for tuning in, all of you 10 people. Very special to me. Hit that like button, please. Pretty please with sugar on top. and a cherry. Peace out. Probably we'll do part 2 on the weekend. Which York clip? Oh, that one? Wait. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we're going to play this York clip really quick. So you can see him live and in action. And the bullshit he espoused. Here you go. This is him from 1992.
In the Upanishads, even amongst the people of sin, the Hindus, they even spoke about their beings, the Nephilims, the wicked ones that came through. Came through where? Came through where? Everybody's looking up. Everybody's talking about the forces or the elders that came from up down here. Right? But they taught you and I to worship a word and to look down. And cut us off from the power of the Elohim, which links us to El, who is Allah. You say Allah and El is the same thing. Allah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, Allah, Allah. What then?
I'm sorry, I gotta pause. This extraterrestrial nigga is rocking cornrows. Let me continue.
You take out of break down the word Allah, he says El Illah. El Illah, the God. But when you say God with dyslexia, you come up with dog, and dog is Anubis. You see that? The jackal dog of ancient Egypt. Symbolically of them marrying in. When the Hyksos dynasty got into Egypt, the light-skinned Egyptians, it was from mixing in with us. You follow that? We were the jackal god to them. And whenever they portrayed a jackal god in ancient Egypt, it's a black dog. Don't believe me. Look it up. Ain't no more time for beliefs. Belief means B-E what? To lie to Eve's children. And that's exactly what he...
Do you hear what this nigga just made up? Let me go back. Pay attention to what he just said.
B-E.
Hold on.
Look it up. Ain't no more time for beliefs. Belief means B-E what? To lie to Eve's children. And that's...
Listen, I must say that this Negro was very creative. Very, very creative. Did you hear what he said? He said, believe, and I'm going to type it in the chat. This Negro, he can look at a word and pull shit right out of his ass. He said, believe is what? And he teaching these niggas and they swallowing this shit. He said, believe is B-E-B, a lie to Eve's children. That's what believe is. Be a lie to Eve's children. And the rest of these niggas are like, wow, that's deep. And I'm like, nigga, is you crazy?
Exactly what he said he was going to do in Genesis 3. He's going to put this hate and envy between...
I'm sorry, we're going to hear that again.
In Egypt, it's a black dog. Don't believe me. Look it up. Ain't no more time for beliefs. Belief means B-E what? is to lie to Eve's children. And that's exactly what he said he was going to do in Genesis 3. He's going to put this hate and envy between who? And who? No, come on, say it like you believe it. That's right. Did he say between Adam's seed? No. So who is the superior in the eyes? The male or the female amongst us? Oh, wait. Wait, back up. You know, you don't want to hear that. But that's not what the scripture says. The scripture teaches us that we are the woman's seed. Not that she is our seed. And the war is going to be between the woman and the serpent. And her seed, which is you and me. That's why in ancient Egypt, the god Isis is the ark for the archangels that domes over the heavens and is painted blue, and the man is on his back looking up. Because all men pass through the garden to get into earth. The garden is pure and unadulterated. It's called the vagina or virginity.
Did you hear this man? He said all men pass through the garden to get to earth, and the garden is the vagina.
We all pass through it to get here. Now, some men are saying, but didn't women originally come from us? Oh, yes. And didn't we originally come from? Yes. That's because we are the ruh principle, and she is the nafs principle. The nafs principle is interpreted in ancient Egypt as the ka, the letter ka, or what you might know as K. In your language, you put ka on the end of nouns or constructing verbs to identify you. You'd say book, kitab, kitabuka, my book. Now, when I say my book, kitabuka, I could just as well say nafsi, me. Nafsi is in the Quran as both spirit and self. So the principle of ka is both spirit and self, both physical and spiritual. But ruh, they call in the Quran, Ruh Qudus. And Allah says, I, or we, Elohim, strengthen Jesus with our ruh. See, that was up there. Now, to put things in proper place. In this realm, we are on the planet Earth. And on the planet Earth, she is the mother of all living. You follow that? When we get back into our proper state as Elohim in the heavens, we are the Father of the heavens. See, when they refer to the Almighty, they refer to him as a father figure. When they refer to the creation of beings, they refer to it as a mother figure. Thus, we have to come through the mother as a soul to manifest as a spirit and a self on this planet. So we were soul first. And prior to that, we were holy soul. Ruh Qudus, a part of the Elohim. But we have fallen to less than man. We reduced ourselves to animals and beasts, chasing the animals and cutting their heads off and drinking their blood. Right? We're now destroying everything. But it's because we are out of our minds. You see, we are out of our minds, literally out of our minds. When we was in our mind, nobody can fool us. But now this devil has given us his mind. And that brings me back to what I was talking about. And that's why he's afraid of you, brother. Because after 3 generations of being in America, you know what's starting to happen? Negroes on television, you can't tell whether they're white or black no more. He comes on television and says, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen." And you gotta look around the screen and say, "Wow, I thought that was a white." That never happened before because we had the voice and the sound of many waters. The white man couldn't look us in our eyes because our eyes had flames of fire coming out of them. What fire? The solar plex fire. Solar. Now let me speak to you about a fire that's burning inside of us that they don't have. Their palate is low. You understand me? We have an inner torch in the ancient writings of Michelangelo. Notice his name. Michelangelo, the angel Michael. He made a picture of Jesus, Jesus, and he always would draw a little torch in his chest, a little candle. Remember that picture? They never told you what that torch meant, though. That torch is an inner light, like I said last time. Anybody here who is 9 ether, 8 ether, or 7 ether, and when I say 7, 8, 9 ether, I'm talking about the texture of your kingly hair, not kinky hair. 7 ether is wavy, 8 ether is curly, and 9 ether is nappy. You understand that? That's the fuse that's ignited by the sun. In the center of your chest, and that's why the devil calls it a solar flex, because it's a sun here. Take your hand and just rub it like that. Right? Now we're moving. And just take your mouth and go. You feel that heat? You know that if you ask any medical doctor, they'll tell you more Nubian children get high temperatures than whites. In fact, don't believe me. Check it out. Almost every, or let's say 8 out of 10 Nubian children, when they came home from the hospital, within 8 to 10 days is back in because of a temperature. Because when we inflate our pyramid, you know what the pyramid is, right? Right there. Right there. Right there. See the pyramid? And above the pyramid is
You know? Hey, Sassy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Interesting. Mm. All right. Well, listen. It is 10:09. I am moving on from this foolishness. Dr. York. Amazing. Didn't he have like 50 names? Interesting character. That whole, he's an extraterrestrial. I just will never understand how people really believe that. And will still defend it till this day. I say death to batshit crazy. Thanks for hanging out. See you soon.